Hello everyone, welcome back, and today we're going to discuss about the angle. An angle is actually a shape that is made of two line segments that intersect at a particular point. So if I will have these two pins representing a line segment and imagine that they intersect at this particular point, so what these two pins have formed is what you call an angle, and the point of intersection of the two line segments is what we call the vertex of the angle. Now, we just don't form an angle that way by simply drawing two lines and let them intersect, but we can also form an angle by rotating a line about a point, a fixed point. So let's imagine that this particular line here rotates about this particular fixed point, which is the center of the circle. And okay, so we see that as we rotate this particular line, we see that the orange circle begins to appear, and the size or portion of the orange circle that is showing gets bigger and bigger. And let's stop there so that we can discuss the shape. So as you can see, we have rotated this particular line segment about this fixed point. This fixed point is what we call the vertex. And you can see that it is still the intersection of this line segment here and this line segment. So this particular shape is what we call an angle, and the center of the circle now becomes the vertex of this angle. The size of the angle is measured in terms of the amount of rotation this line segment makes from its initial position to its terminal position. Okay, so this was the initial position of this line segment, and this is the terminal position of the line segment. And if we continue to rotate, you see that the angle gets bigger and bigger. Okay, so this is another angle, and it is bigger than the first angle. We have formed an angle by rotating this particular line segment about a fixed point, which is the center of our circle. And this particular, actually in this particular figure, we can see also another angle, which is from this particular line segment to, going around this way to this position. So which part of the angle are we talking about? So to differentiate the two particular portions of the angle, so we call this the orange part of the angle as the interior of the angle, and the gray part is the exterior of the angle. Usually we measure the interior of the angle, okay? So it is measured in terms of the amount of rotation done by this particular side from its initial position. Okay, so let's continue rotating this particular circle so that you will see, okay, the changes in the size of the angle. So right now the angle, okay, so right now you see that half of the circle is orange, the other half is gray. So we can say that this line segment has done like half of the rotation already. And let's continue. And you will see that the size of the gray circle is getting smaller, and that this side is approaching its initial position. Okay, so we have to hold it like a little bit firm so you can see now the gray is getting smaller and smaller, and now you will see that all the gray circle has disappeared or covered by the orange circle. So now we can see that this particular site has returned to its initial position. So then we can say that this particular line segment has made one complete rotation. And in terms of degrees, okay, so the size of the angle is measured in terms of degrees, and one complete rotation is equivalent to 360 degrees. So earlier I showed you a certain situation wherein half of the circle was gray and half was orange. So which means that the line segment has just made half of a rotation. So this is also another angle, and the size of this angle is equivalent to half of a rotation. And if one rotation is equivalent to 360 degrees, then half of a rotation will just be half of 360 degrees, which we compute as 180 degrees. Why? Because we divide 360 degrees by 2 and we get 180 degrees. Okay. Now, there are also certain angles wherein we only want to have just 1/4 of a rotation. Okay, 1/4 of a rotation, so about this size here. And to make sure that it's really some kind of very close to 1/4 of a rotation, we are going to get a piece of paper like this one here and fold it 2 times. So that will be 1, and then this is gonna be 2. And make sure that the edges here coincide with each other. Now, by folding this paper twice, we actually have formed another kind of angle at this where the vertex is this corner here. And this angle is equivalent to the size, which is just 1/4 of a complete rotation. So this angle here has a size that is 1/4 of a complete rotation. So we are going to find out if our orange angle here is really about 1/4 of a rotation, and we are more or less correct. Okay, so this orange angle is about 1/4 of a rotation, and 1/4 of rotation means it's 1/4 of 360 degrees. That means we divide 360 degrees by 4. That will give us 90 degrees. And 1/4 of a rotation, that's 90 degrees, and it has a special name. We call it the right angle. Right angle, an angle that has a measure of 90 degrees. So this angle here is a right angle. There are angles wherein their measures are less than 90 degrees. So if we will say, okay, so if this is our 90-degree angle, then the angle to be less than 90 degrees must have a smaller size, so we can adjust our gray circle. So this angle here is already less than 90 degrees. To be sure, so let's get our paper again. Make sure this vertex of our 90-degree angle matches with the vertex of the orange angle. And you will see that the orange angle here is really less than our 90-degree angle. And this angle is what you call, so this angle that's less than 90 degrees is what you call an acute angle. So a right angle has a measure of 90 degrees, but if the angle measures less than 90 degrees, we call that acute angle. So any angle less than 90 degrees is always acute. So any angle smaller than this size is acute. Okay. If there are angles that are less than 90 degrees, there are also angles that are greater than 90 degrees. But of course, less than a half rotation. So like this one here. If we measure, you can see that it's greater than 90 degrees, but of course but less than the half of a rotation. We call this angle as an obtuse angle. Greater than 90, but less than 180 degrees. And there are also angles which are greater than half of a rotation. So that's half of a rotation. If you go further, so you've produced, so the orange angle here is greater than half of a rotation. We call this angle a reflex angle. So we have discussed the different kinds of angles. So first we have what an angle is, how an angle is created, and how angles are being measured. So we use the degrees to measure an angle. That is one complete rotation is equivalent to 360 degrees. Therefore, if you only need half of a rotation, divide 360 by 2 and you get 180 degrees. 1/4 of a rotation is 90 degrees. Then that angle is what you call a right angle. But if the angle measures less than 90 degrees, we call that an acute angle. And an angle that's greater than 90 degrees but less than 180 degrees is called an obtuse angle. And of course, an angle greater than 180 degrees but less than 360 degrees is what we call a reflex angle. And we will be discussing more about angles in upcoming videos. Thank you so much and have a good day.